There is an Arab nation that most people have barely heard of because it is one of the least explored places in the world. It holds the record for the longest train crossing the Sahara. It is also known for the fact that about 2% of its people still live in slavery in this country. A force-feeding custom exists due to the belief that a woman is considered more attractive when she is heavier. Along with this, we will reveal many other details that may surprise you. Now, let us begin a remarkable journey to Mauritania. Beauty standard. Mauritania is known as one of the countries with the lowest population density in the world. It lies almost entirely in the desert, which means the climate is always hot, dry, and filled with dust. The Islamic Republic of Mauritania has a strongly patriarchal culture where many women and girls grow up believing they are beneath men and must satisfy men to live a meaningful life. One clear example of this mindset is the beauty ideal that values obesity as a symbol of wealth, respect, and attraction. The pressure to meet this beauty ideal has led to the continuation of the Le Bleu. This tradition is rooted in the belief that for women, thick layers of body fat represent the highest form of beauty. This view comes from customs formed centuries ago by the Moors, a group of nomadic Muslims of Arab and Berber heritage, who make up most of Mauritania's 3 million people. For the early Moors, having a fat wife was like owning healthy livestock. It showed that a man was wealthy enough to provide large amounts of food even when others struggled to survive in harsh, dry conditions. In Mauritanian culture, bigger women and girls are seen as attractive, fortunate, and respected, while thinner ones are considered lesser and may even bring embarrassment to their families. The practice has harmful health consequences, and many women are now pushing back against it. What would you do if you were born into a culture where your worth was measured by your weight? Interviews with 2 local women who run their own small businesses may help you better understand the traditions surrounding force feeding.
Do you remember their earliest memories of being told they needed to be bigger? From age 9 until they got married. Why does that make her attractive and more beautiful and more acceptable also in the community? Does she feel more beautiful that way? Or is it something that she's told?
She said,
If the lady didn't force feed, no one wants her. No one. It's not attractive.
slavery still exists in 2025. Despite officially abolishing slavery in 1981, Mauritania still has one of the highest rates of slavery in the world. Current estimates suggest that 2% of the population, roughly 90,000 people, live in conditions of slavery. This isn't historical slavery we're talking about. This is happening right now. In 2025, the enslaved are primarily darker-skinned Haritan people, owned by lighter-skinned Moors. It's a caste system based on descent, meaning if your ancestors were slaves, you're likely to be enslaved too. What's most shocking is that slavery wasn't even criminalized until 2007, 26 years after it was officially abolished. And despite the anti-slavery law existing for nearly 2 decades, not a single case has been successfully prosecuted. The practice continues with complete impunity. These modern slaves work in agriculture, herding livestock, and domestic service. They receive no payment, cannot leave freely, and their children automatically become slaves too. International organizations have repeatedly called out Mauritania for this, but the government's response has been minimal at best. The fact that this level of human rights violation exists in the 21st century, in a country that's a member of the United Nations, shows just how hidden and ignored Mauritania remains on the world stage. The divorce market. In Nouakchott, Mauritania's capital, there's a market called the divorce market, and it's exactly what it sounds like. This is where women come to sell items from their failed marriages. In Mauritania, divorce is incredibly simple. A man can divorce his wife just by pronouncing it. No paperwork, no legal proceedings, no complicated process. Just words, and it's done. But what happens next is where things get interesting. When a woman gets divorced, she must wait 3 months before she can remarry. But instead of this being a period of shame or sadness, it becomes a time of celebration. She wears new clothes, celebrates with music and friends, and has meals with family. It's treated almost like a festival. But divorced women actually become more desirable in the marriage market. Most men prefer women who have been married before because they believe these women have experience with raising children and managing households. Men think divorced women have the maturity to be good wives. even if the men themselves have never been married. The divorce market itself is fascinating. It's filled entirely with women selling expensive, handmade items from their previous marriages. A single sheet can cost the equivalent of several $100s. These women are essentially liquidating their past to fund their future, and society supports this process. What makes this even more remarkable is that while men who divorce multiple times are frowned upon, especially if they're young, women who have been married many times face no social stigma. It's a complete reversal of what we see in most cultures around the world. Are you enjoying this video? If you are, tap like to show your support, and hit hype if you're watching on your phone. Every like and every hype helps this video reach more people and gives me the motivation to bring you even better stories. Clothing for a land of winds. Mauritania literally means the land of many winds, and you feel it the moment you arrive. This is Nouakchott, the capital where the cold Atlantic crashes into the burning Sahara, creating some of the strongest, most constant winds on Earth. And no one knows how to dress for this climate better than Mauritanians. Among all desert peoples, they have perfected the most ventilated outfit, the boubou. What makes this clothing brilliant is how it works with the wind, rather than against it. In most climates, loose, flappy clothing would be impractical, but in Mauritania's constant windstorms, the boubou acts like a personal air conditioning system. The wind flows through the slits, creating circulation that keeps the wearer cool even in temperatures exceeding 45 degrees Celsius. The boubou covers you completely from the sun's harmful rays while allowing maximum airflow. It's loose enough that sand and dust don't stick to your body, and the fabric moves with the wind rather than fighting it. When sandstorms hit, which happens regularly, people can pull the fabric over their faces for protection while still being able to breathe comfortably. Some cool places to see. Mauritania may be a dry land covered with vast stretches of desert, but it is still a destination worth exploring. It offers several remarkable places to experience. The world's largest ship graveyard is found in Mauritania near the city of Nouadhibou, where hundreds of abandoned vessels rest in shallow waters, slowly being stripped or left to break down. When European ships become outdated, they are brought to Nouadhibou and left there. The country's currency notes show a train, representing the famous Iron Train, which is a national symbol. This is the longest and heaviest desert train in the world, stretching to 3 kilometers. Many visitors come here specifically for the challenge of riding this train. To begin the journey, you must travel to a small town called Zouerat, where the train is loaded with iron ore before returning to Nouadhibou. From there, the iron is shipped to countries around the world. This freight train carries iron, and the entire ride lasts 17 hours. During the trip, you spend 17 hours in the open air, sitting on top of iron ore. You must face cold temperatures, intense heat, and frequent sandstorms. This journey demands real bravery. You must cover your face completely, because breathing in iron dust can harm your lungs. It becomes a memory you will never forget. You must withstand difficult weather for the entire 17 hours. Gold mining also takes place in this country. To observe it, you must travel about 2 hours from Nouakchott to a town called Chami. This area is known for gold mining, and the air is always filled with dust. The tools used in this work are simple and rough. Near Chami, there's a gold region filled with thousands of mines, tunnels, and workers. By the will of Allah, gold lies beneath the sandy surface. The land actually produces gold. Stones are pulled out from underground, and separating the gold from the rock and soil is extremely hard work. Many workers lose their lives in these tunnels. The gold lies in tunnels around 50 meters below the ground. It is one of the toughest jobs in the world. Even under these harsh conditions, the workers never skip their prayers. They do not begin their task without praying and give their worship great importance. The collected stones are taken to other locations, where they are crushed with water in mills. Mercury is added so that it can attach to the gold, allowing it to separate from the soil. After careful washing and effort, pure gold is collected. This region operates like a world of its own. The country is rich in minerals, yet much of the wealth does not reach the ordinary people. Many historical places continue to stand here, including the ancient Chinguetti Mosque, built in the 12th century. Other important mosques include the Abbas Mosque and the Hassan Ali Mosque, which feature designs similar to the architecture of Marrakesh and Andalusia. Would you brave 17 hours on top of iron ore through sandstorms just for the experience? Let me know if you're adventurous enough. The camel market. Let me take you to something that perfectly captures the essence of Mauritanian culture. The camel market. This is the third largest in the world after Saudi Arabia and South Sudan, and it operates every single day of the year. Walking into this market is like stepping into a different world. Trucks arrive constantly, loaded with camels and covered in excrement from the journey. The smell hits you immediately. But what's more striking is the organized chaos of it all. People arrive with their cars, browse through hundreds of camels like they're shopping for groceries, and drive away with their new livestock. The pricing system is fascinating and reveals the deep knowledge these traders have about camels. Prices range from $600 to $200, but the factors that determine value are incredibly specific. Female camels cost more because they can produce milk and breed more camels. Baby camels are expensive because of their potential, but camels with particularly beautiful eyelashes command higher prices. What makes this market even more remarkable is its accessibility. Unlike many traditional markets that cater only to locals, anyone can come here and buy a camel. There are no restrictions. No special permits needed. If you want a camel, you come here, pick one out, and take it home. For thousands of years, camels have been the backbone of Saharan civilization, providing transportation, milk, meat, and companionship in a world increasingly dominated by modern technology. This market proves that some traditions remain not just relevant, but essential. The oasis that defies the desert. In the heart of the Sahara, where you'd expect nothing but sand and death, lies the Tarid Oasis, a place so magical it seems impossible. This small aquifer provides constant, fresh water in the middle of one of the world's most inhospitable environments. What makes this oasis extraordinary is how the water appears. It literally flows from the rocks, creating a constant supply of fresh, filtered water. When you step into this oasis, the temperature drops dramatically. It's like entering a natural air conditioning system powered by underground springs. The presence of palm trees immediately signals water to desert travelers. But seeing the actual source is breathtaking. The water cascades down from rock formations, creating pools that have sustained life in this region for thousands of years. This oasis represents hope and survival in the most unlikely place. For nomadic peoples crossing the Sahara, finding an oasis like this could mean the difference between life and death. It's a reminder that even in the harshest environments, life finds a way to persist. The contrast is stunning. You can be surrounded by endless sand dunes, with temperatures exceeding 50 degrees Celsius, and then suddenly find yourself in this cool, green sanctuary where fresh water flows freely. It's like discovering a secret room in a house you thought you knew completely. The holy city that time forgot. Chinguetti is the 7th holiest site in all of Islam, and it's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But most of the world has never heard of it. This ancient city represents everything mysterious and fascinating about Mauritania. When you arrive in this part of the Sahara, and if you pay close attention, you will notice that the buildings and structures have unique patterns and symbols attached to them. In the southern areas of the country where Bedouin communities live, you will find tickets, which are symbolic figures placed on rooftops to show which tribe a family belongs to. When you travel to regions where the Berber Amazigh live, you will see that they use many triangle-shaped shelves in their walls, as well as doorways and passages that resemble the shape of a spade. These shapes have been used by their communities for centuries. These small but meaningful details are what I like to notice and record whenever I take trips like this. Mauritania is fascinating because even though it is a dry desert land with very little water, their most loved source of protein is fish. Their national dish is taboo, which is made of fish, rice, vegetables, and hot sauce. It tastes very good. The markets of Chinguetti show the rhythm of daily life. The mornings are busy. People buy what they need. Children head to school. The thing about Mauritania is everybody here has been super nice. Super chill. They don't judge you if you're different. They look at foreigners and they're like, hey, cool. They want to interact with you. They have no problem with you. They're used to looking at anybody and they're just like, hey, welcome. Everybody here has been super welcoming to us. It's just the way it is. Hus, in Mauritania, the national drink, enjoyed every day, is atay, which means tea. But they prepare it in a special way. Notice the foam they create in the cup before pouring the tea. This is an important Mauritanian custom. The foam is made on purpose before the tea is added. It works like a stimulant. Its effect is stronger than Italian espresso. Stronger than anything. They drink it daily and everywhere, both in the cities and deep in the desert from north to south. The dara, the traditional Mauritanian food. The country where everyone is a poet. Mauritania is known as the country of a million poets. And this isn't just a romantic nickname. It's based on reality. Most Mauritanians attend traditional schools where they study poetry, prose, and classical Arabic. This education system has created a population that speaks classical Arabic fluently and has a deep appreciation for literary arts. In the 1960s, a Kuwaiti newspaper did a feature on Mauritania and found that people write poetry everywhere, leading them to coin this famous phrase. You can walk through any market, sit in any cafe, or visit any home, and you'll find people who can recite classical poetry from memory or compose verses on the spot. This isn't limited to educated elites. It's a cultural trait that spans all social classes. This poetic tradition is deeply connected to Islamic scholarship. Mauritania has been a center of Islamic learning for centuries, with ancient libraries in cities like Chinguetti containing thousands of manuscripts. The combination of religious study and poetic tradition has created a unique intellectual culture. What's remarkable is how this literary tradition has survived in such a harsh environment. While the desert may be unforgiving, the human spirit has found expression through words. Creating beauty in one of the world's most challenging landscapes? The contrast is striking. This is a country where slavery still exists, where women are force-fed for beauty, where life is incredibly harsh. Yet it's also a place where poetry flourishes and intellectual discourse is valued above material wealth. A large country, but with many limitations. The nation is officially called the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, and it shares with Somalia the distinction of being the most Islamic country in Africa, with nearly its entire population following Islam. With an area of about 300,000 square kilometers and a population of around 3 million, Mauritania is the 11th largest country in Africa and the 28th largest in the world. It is larger than countries like Nigeria, Egypt, and Pakistan, which cover less land but have populations more than 20 times greater than Mauritania's. Even though the country covers a huge land area, it has a population density of only about 5 people per square kilometer. This makes it the third most sparsely populated nation in Africa after Namibia and Botswana. To show how empty Mauritania is, consider Lagos, a Nigerian city with an area of less than 200 square kilometers. Lagos has about 24 million residents, which is 5 times the population of Mauritania. A look at Mauritania's map reveals that most people live in the southern regions near the Senegal River and in coastal urban centers along the Atlantic. Cities such as Nouakchott, the capital, and Nouadhibou attract larger populations because they have better facilities, more economic activity, and access to water. Why does such a large country have only about 3 million people living on roughly 5% of its land? The desert environment brings extreme conditions, including very hot days, cold nights, and little unpredictable rainfall that often cannot support vegetation or water sources. The harsh landscape creates major difficulties for people trying to settle there. Water scarcity is one of the biggest reasons behind the low population density. Unlike places with many rivers or regular rainfall, Mauritania has very limited water resources, aside from the Senegal River, which forms the southern border. The country has no major permanent lakes or rivers. The Senegal River Valley is the main center of farming and settled life. This narrow, fertile zone makes irrigation possible and supports more concentrated communities. In contrast, the rest of the country depends on groundwater that lies deep beneath the surface, making it costly and challenging to reach. Many rural areas rely on seasonal rains or wells that offer limited and irregular water supply. Because the population is so unevenly spread out, it is difficult for the country to maintain unity, deliver services, and ensure effective governance. Many communities live far apart, isolated from healthcare, schools, and markets. Economically, Mauritania depends on a small number of industries, including mining, especially iron ore, coastal fishing, and small-scale farming near the Senegal River. Mauritania remains one of the least visited countries in Africa, even though it has a rich cultural history. Striking desert scenery and ancient landmarks. Several factors limit tourism, including its environment, geography, politics, and infrastructure. Safety is a major issue for travelers. Mauritania borders countries like Mali that have experienced conflict and terrorism, the possibility of extremist actions. Kidnappings and armed groups in border regions has led many governments to issue travel warnings, advising against visiting certain areas of Mauritania. These warnings discourage tourists and travel companies from promoting the country. Just saying, while the capital and coastal cities remain fairly secure. The sense of risk continues. Political uncertainty, including past coups and occasional demonstrations, also affects visitors' confidence. Mauritania has not invested much in presenting itself as an international travel destination. Unlike countries with strong tourism campaigns, Mauritania has a small and underdeveloped tourism sector. Many of its attractions, such as the ancient trading city of Chinguetti, the Richa structure known as the Eye of the Sahara, and its vast desert views, remain unfamiliar to most people except those interested in adventure travel. The lack of organized tourism facilities, including guided tours, visitor centers, and helpful information, means that travelers must often plan complicated trips on their own. This difficulty limits tourism mainly to people who seek challenging experiences or have very specific interests. As we wrap up this journey through Mauritania's secrets, remember what we've uncovered: a country where ancient traditions persist in ways both beautiful and unsettling. The 10 facts we explored, from dangerous beauty standards to poetry, from modern slavery to deep hospitality, show a place that defies simple labels. We've seen how Mauritania controls women's bodies through Le Bleu. But what if a government tried to control something even more personal? Your emotions. There's actually a country where smiling wasn't just encouraged, it was the law. People could be punished for not looking happy in public, except in hospitals or at funerals. Can you guess which country turned happiness into a legal obligation? Click the link at the top of the screen or check the pinned comment below for the answer. What makes Mauritania truly mind-blowing isn't each fact alone, but how they coexist where fat is beautiful, divorced women are admired, slavery persists beside poetry, and fish is beloved in the desert. These aren't just quirky cultural details. They challenge our assumptions about progress, beauty, and freedom. The darker taboos, like ongoing slavery and force-feeding, remind us how complex and uncomfortable reality can be. But they also show why we must look beyond our own assumptions to understand the full spectrum of human experience. If these insights surprised you, make sure to subscribe. Next week, we explore another hidden country that may change how you see the world. And I'd love to hear from you which fact shocked you most. Had you heard of Mauritania before? Thanks for joining me on this journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep discovering our world's incredible diversity.